this gorgeous knife that I had made for you. Now you paid for it, but I'd like you to present that to the, show that to everybody that's here that may have seen it online. Guys, this is a knife that, this is a knife that Josh made, and the reason I wanted to point that out first, and I didn't know he was going to bring it, is because to be amongst all you guys, you have to be humble, because there's not a guy in this room that couldn't make what I made, or isn't where I was several years ago. It's a journey, it's not a race, and there's no such thing as an ugly knife. It's just your desire to improve. To tell you a little bit about the Guild was started in 1970 in Las Vegas at the Sahara Hotel. A.G. Russell, I'm sure you guys know that name, Bob Lovelace, and Blackie Collins and John Nelson, and Dan Dennehy. I'm friends with John Dennehy, his son. But these guys started a group that was based on producing quality knives. Knives that you could reproduce, not reproduce the same thing over and over, even though that's an option, but knives that you could produce in a very professional format. The knife that I've seen Gary passing around here this morning is a very professional looking knife. So to get into the Guild, you have to provide 4 knives, and you have to go online, fill out the application, and you take that to a show, or you find out who the Guild members are in your area, and you present in your area. There's a directory here. And you present your 4 knives to them, and they grade them. And if they sign off on them, then you get to go to Blade Show. It used to be a Guild show, but now that Blade shows have kind of taken over for the Guild meetings, the Guild used to really drive a lot of the Blade Show meetings, or Blade meetings, and conferences. You present those 4 knives there, additional 4 knives, excuse me. And at mine, I don't know if y'all are familiar with the name Paul Liebetard, been making knives for 30 years, and I'm sitting there in front of Paul and a couple other people looking at my knives, and they said, "You got buck fever?" And I looked down and my hands were just doing this. Now guys, I don't mind talking in front of a group of people. At that point in time, I was, Gary, you probably, when you were bending your knives and getting your knife test done for your qualification there, you know that feeling, you know, that is it gonna make it? And they had some really nice things to say, and I still got my, you know, we like to keep our historical records here, but I've still got my paperwork where they commented, good, 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 good. And I don't know if good, if there's an excellent category or not, but they all said good, and they didn't have, but they did put down opportunities for improvement. And I walked away from there, and I just had an adrenaline rush, thought I was gonna hit the floor. That's how important it was, because this is a group of 300, roughly 300 members. Anybody can join, and you join an elite group of people that practice producing good quality knives to a good quality standard. So I presented my knives at a $25 fee, filled out my form, walked in, took it, and I was gifted one of these. And I told my grandson, if you touch this off of Poppy's dresser. And that just basically says I'm a probationary member. And maybe next year when I go to the show, I can use this side of the card. It says I'm a voting member, which is, when I say I can use in a voting member, it's the highest level within the Guild, kind of like the Master Smith is within there. I'm not equating Master Smith with voting member. I'm just saying the level within the Guild. So, as far as, and here's that case that Josh, I want to show you some of the knives I made. So this is one of the 4 knives I made. This is just a Bowie, and this was forged from 8670 bar stock. And I just drew it up and made it. And where I got my ideas was looking online, looking at videos, watching Kyle Royer, Gary Graham stuff. Guys, y'all think I've got a crush on Gary, but I really do respect a lot of the stuff that he does. Talking to Josh Howard, Josh Ferran, and just getting the lowdown from as many people as I could. And one of the things we were talking about how nice these shows are down at Tannehill is presenting these to Master Smith and Journeyman Smith and saying, what do you think about this? Because the first knife I made similar to this, it was shorter, they ripped it apart. So it was a beautiful knife, but let me tell you why it won't pass. And I walked away feeling good and sad at the same time, even though I even saw those things going into that, what was wrong. So you really need to communicate along the way to make sure when you get there, you assure your success. I even visited this guy's forge and learned a little bit from him. Got myself a post vise that improved my game also, as far as being able to set guards and stuff. So you never know. The people may hold you in regard. They don't realize that you reciprocate that as well. That's why I say this is a very humbling craft that we're in. If you put yourself above anybody else, you're not thinking about it as God would want us to. And I can pass these around. What I would say is that all of these are sold. So if you don't mind, just be careful. This right here is the first one I made. This is some spalted hackberry, again some 8670, and this was the first knife that I made. And I took this to Pops and showed them, and said, what do you think? And they said, you're there, go ahead and make 3 more like it, and go ahead and apply that you want to get into the guild. This happens to be the sheath that I made for this. And guys, if you have interest in joining the guild, don't worry about the sheaths. That's why the other 3 of these don't have sheaths. But that's an Amazon Cobra, not from the Amazon, off of Amazon. And it just kind of dressed it up a little bit. I've actually got a cowboy hat that's got that Cobra's chest and underpants wrapped around it that kind of matches when you wear it. So I like that. You can come up and look at this, but I'll let that one sit right there. What I want to tell you about this knife is, don't ever give up on your knife. This knife had 2 other handles on it, and was sanded with just a matte natural finish, and I just was never happy with it. I wasn't even happy with the grind. So I went back and reground it, and instead of throwing it away or realizing it wouldn't pass, I got it straightened up. Is a knife not 1,000 mistakes corrected to become something beautiful? You know, I'm grinding. Okay, I just got to take my plunge line back a little bit further now. But, and also that's another one. Guys, if you're out there and you're a new knife maker, or relatively new, and you feel like your plunges get away from you, draw where your plunge should start, about 2 plunge lines towards the tip, so you can work back as you get in it. But this is a knife that really should have gone in the trash, and I just never gave up on it, and I ended up acid dipping it and stone washing it into that. I'm not sure what that one was. People a lot of times will say, well, what type of steel did you use? A lot of times I just grab a piece of steel and go. I think that do not get me wrong on here. If you're making tools or certain things, there's certain steels that do better. What I found out with knives, I just don't really get caught up too much in the steel, except maybe if I'm forging, because some steels are a lot easier to forge than others.
So what you're saying is that's probably a mouse steel.
And this right here, I had to make one last knife, and I want to do something, a simple utility knife. And that's why I loved your knife so much this morning, Gary, because it actually, I think it beats this one as far as being able to carry it and be simple. This is called a Flesher 25. I started making the Flesher 6 years ago. If you see the first one I've got, it's the most ugliest knife in the world. But there is no such thing as an ugly knife. Some guys wanted hunting knives, small, and I made Fleshers. I never heard the term Flesher before, so that's a copyrighted term. You can't use 3-peat or Flesher, or I'll send a cease and desist. I bought 3-peat after Pat died. But anyway, the Flesher has evolved over years, and why that's important to say, if you have a design that feels good, continue to evolve it, continue to change it. You can call it something totally different, but that knife meant so much to me when I first made it, because even though that ugly little knife, to me now and then, it got so many compliments, and it hooked me on knife making. So I kept the name. And this still is made off of the original template that's been altered to take on this new shape. One last thing I'll point out before I talk about some other materials. When you're making knives, the last 10 minutes of knife making is the most important. I took my first knife to Blade Show 3 years ago, and I said, Jason, he's the president of the Knifemakers Guild right now, a friend of mine. I said, Jason, what do you think about this knife? He said, you want me to tell you what I think about it, or do you need me to grade it for you? He said, you need to spend 10 more minutes on this, and he showed me everything I did wrong. I had left the smallest of little scratches. I had left some grinding lines that I thought were attractive in it, and you know, what are the judges going to look for? In the spine, it was just a bad wonky. The plunge looked good, but notice, they look at your plunge line to make sure it lines up. Now, there's a tolerance that they will accept, but it needs to line up, and all that comes down to just slowing down and going into your knives with purpose. I know that we feel that we go into our knives with purpose when we make them, and I would hate to have to make knives like you, Josh Howard, because of the intricate stuff that he does and yourself. But have a purpose when you do it. Lay out your lines. When you've got the butt end of the knife, make sure it's symmetrical, and it's symmetrical all the way down the knife. And if you don't know, hey, what does that mean? Talk to people, and they'll help you. Josh Holtz, excuse me. He showed me a simple little trick one time that changed my life. Now I've got a surface, what do you call it? Goes up and down, measures your height gauge. I have a height gauge now I use. But he'd take a business card, and he sat my knife on a 1, 2, 3 block, put a business card down and went like this all the way down it, and the knife blade never left that cut, which means it was straight all the way down. You can do this, you can do this, but you need to make sure things are lining up. So how do you do that? When you're grinding, don't rush your knives, go into them. If you've got variable frequency drives, it's going to improve your game a whole lot because you can slow them way down. Last night, this particular knife here that I will pass around, and this one sold too, so please, and I don't mean you'll drop it or anything, all knife makers have that anxiety. This is actually flat ground. It transitions into a convex grind on the end. So I flat ground it, I left the end of it a little fat, and then I went into it with my rotary platen, because if you don't have a rotary platen, it's so wonderful for making convex grinds. I went into my rotary platen and just slowly rounded off each side, so I went from that flat to a round. This gives the knife a little bit more of a, gives it more meat on the end for what this guy's going to use it for. This is going to ultimately end up going on this. I'll cut it down and whatever. But it gives it more meat on the end, but it still maintains some very pretty lines without looking fat, and then I don't have a fat line here. So I'll pass that around, and thank you so much. And
oh, wow.
If you are in the Knife Guild, I just want to add, once you become a voting member, it's $200 a year, and you have full voting rights, and you're part of the it's an international organization, by the way. We had people from all over the world. I don't remember if there was 25 or 30 of us that got in this year. I had Dennis Tyrell texting me. Y'all know Dennis Tyrell by name? I know you did. Dennis Tyrell's texting me and saying, hey Chip, how do I get into the guild? And I'm like, well, they already had the votes. I already showed my knives. And all of a sudden we're going, Dennis Tyrell's asking me. That's what I mean by this is such a humbling thing. That guy is such a wonderful maker. He'll be a mastersmith someday. But you go into the directory and your knives. People seek you out as a guild member and start contacting you as a voting member saying, hey, I'd like to buy your knife. I've actually had a couple people ask me about making knives already because they'd like to get some of those early knives before. That's just how collectors think. I don't think that way. I'm not that smart. But not only that, you also get a spot on the guild page to present yourself, present your knives, your contact information that you can continually update as you go. And above all else, for me, I don't need other people's acceptance of what I do because I'm an artist. I don't live for it. But gosh, I appreciate it when somebody says that's beautiful. You. I love you, man. I love you. But seriously, the guild doesn't give you the, I've made it. It gives you that I'm a part of a group that's making knives that meet a certain standard to be able to present to the public and sell with confidence. You also, if I didn't have this, you need to be selling knives. So whether you're selling through Instagram or selling on a web page, you need to be able to show them that you are a business. You don't have to have a LLC or any type of form. Just show them that you are selling knives. You can be selling at the local festival. Just show them that you are selling knives. That is the Knife Guild, a wonderful organization. Some of you may know that I've got a podcast, which is outside of this, so I won't spend time on it. And that's how I got to know Jason Fry, who was one of my biggest critics. I didn't get into the guild because I know Jason Fry. As a matter of fact, he wasn't part of any of it. He was just voted in president this year. He's one of the guys that said, you're not going to get in if you don't do this, this, and this. So,
Amen.
this right here is a great toilet book, 384 knife making tips, so you can make knives like the pros. We read these on the podcast, is why I mentioned it. Jason's on our podcast also. He's a wonderful Christian man, good family man, puts in countless hours into the guild. He loves what he does. He loves knife making. He's been making knives for more than 15 years. He did this with Blade Magazine. I love this book. They're $20. Now, what happens to the $20? I don't make any profit off of them. I'm offering them here. I asked Jason at Blade Show, hey, let me bring some books back. And if I go to festivals or this, that, and the other, I'll make these and send them back to you. Jason gets the money. And honestly, it's not a lot of money made on top of it. This is the knife making guide to buying knives. You mean not too many knife buyers in here, I guess, but it is a very good book that talks about buying knives.
Oh, I'm better at buying them than I am making
Then
them.
this book's for you. This is $25. $20, $25. This book right here is one of my favorites. Next Level Knife Making. Really beautiful.
Really beautiful.
I'll buy you lunch. Woo! Thank you. About buying your compliments. Next Level Knife Making, guys, there's not only pictures in here, but it talks about abrasives, it talks about where to learn, it talks about how to do different techniques. You can look at them. This is a $25 book also. I'm not in here to hot books. I'm here just to make them available if anybody wants them. I wouldn't bring them here if I didn't think they were good books. And I work with Jason at the show at his table. I don't sell my knives at Blade Show. So I've talked about these books for a long, long time to people, and people seem genuinely pretty happy with them that are makers wanting to take it to another level. Also, we have access to Jason at any time, if you have one of his books or not, to reach out to him and talk to him. Just you let me know and I'll let you know how to get in touch with him. Or you can contact him through the podcast as well, or his website. He's just genuinely just a good man. With all that being said, if there's not any questions, I'm done. If there are questions or you'd like to look at some other stuff or go through, I'm here for that also. But I do thank you for your time. And let me tell you, you guys are on a pedestal because you're here, you're hungry, regardless of what you're not, and for catfish, but not just, is it catfish today? Okay. We're all hungry to learn, and we never stop learning until we die. So it's good to be a part of such a wonderful, unique group, and the friendships I've made, especially like running into you at Blade Show out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, it's amazing what a close-knit community you are. So thank you for your time. Consider the Knife Guild, and if you want to talk about a journey to joining the guild, I'm always a person you can reach out and talk to at any step of the way, whether it's looking at your knives or putting you in touch with people that are better than me that can look at your knives, or just helping you on your journey to get there. It's a fun journey. Thank you.
Thanks for sharing, Chip.
Thank you.